When I first read the syllabus back in August and saw the ethnographic interview, I was extremely excited about this assignment. But then I began to realize that I had one major thing going against me. I had just moved from Florida to Oregon and began to realize that the demographics and different cultures that were available to me in my community in Florida were not available to me here in this small rural farming town in Eastern Oregon. I began to panic trying to figure out, okay, what am I going to do to be able to fulfill the requirements for this assignment. And as I began to share my fears with my pastor's wife, she informed me that the priest here at the Catholic Church was actually from southern India. And so I approached my own pastor to see if he would be willing to help me set up an interview with Father Papa. And the interesting thing was that the Lord was already at work and that he had been already laying on Pastor Tripp's heart to reach out to Father Papa to befriend him and help him build just a deeper connection within the community here. And so it was really neat how the Lord provided for the need that I had, but then also provided for the opportunity for Pastor Tripp to be able to be obedient to what the Lord was laying on his heart. And so Pastor Tripp and I sat down with Father Papa Rao Pasala, who is from Nellore, India, which is in the Andhra Pradesh region in southern India, and Father Papa speaks Telugu. And Father Papa grew up in a very large family, and family is a very much an important part of the culture that he is from. And his father was the main decision maker and main provider, and his mother's role was mainly more at home with the kids. But the interesting thing with Father Papa's family was that both of his parents were actually grammar school teachers, so education was a very big part of his family. And so what I'll mainly focus this time on is looking at three different areas from the interview: the social structure, the political structure, and then the religious structure. And one of the areas that I wanted to focus in on the social structure that I was really interested in finding out a little bit more was the caste system and what elements of the caste system were still in place. Because as a history teacher, I know that the caste system in its strict, stringent form from many, many years ago is not what is seen today, but I knew that there were still aspects still in place, so I was interested to find out what role the caste system still played. And one of the areas that you still see separation in is in the area of marriage. Marriages are arranged within the Indian culture, but usually marriages are arranged within your caste. It is seen as taboo almost to marry below you and to marry below the caste system that you are born into. And so Father Papa actually shared a story of a family member who had married into a lower caste and not chosen to go with an arranged marriage. And pretty much the family it was almost like a disowning because it had brought shame upon the family, and the family member had chosen to be a part of with their actions, had chosen to be a part of their spouse's family instead, and any problems that that family member was having, Father Papa's family couldn't step in and help because of that choice that had been made. So that was very interesting to see. Within their political structure, they have three branches of government, very similar to what we have here in the United States. But an interesting thing is that within the election process, members could be from any caste system, and Father Papa actually had a list of some of the leaders within the Andhra Pradesh region and could look at their names and tell which caste they were coming from. And so it was interesting to see that unfortunately the aspect of corruption is seen within government and within the economy, and does play a detrimental role within that area of society. Religion, there are a wide variety of religions, and one of the interesting things that I wanted to know more about was as a Christian and a follower of Christianity, what role persecution might have had on Father Papa and his family. And Father Papa shared that his family had actually had a history of being believers and followers of Christianity for many generations. And whenever I brought up the topic of persecution, he actually said that he, for the most part, didn't face much persecution from people within the community or his friends, even though many of his friends were not Christians. They might have been Hindu or Muslim, but they treated him with respect and still treat him with respect, even knowing that he is a priest. And so that was an interesting aspect to hear within the interview, and it was definitely an honor to be able to sit down and have those conversations to get a better understanding of the culture that Father Papa came from.